perfectly in line with his understanding of the Trinity and perhaps many of the Trinitarians that the Prophet Muhammad alayhi salam would have come in contact with. So maybe Dr. White is not familiar with that point, but I think that he needs to consider it seriously.
Those are not the standards you want. You want modern analytical philosophy. And I say to you, they are insufficient. And that is not what the origin and belief of the doctrine of the Trinity is. And I have a feeling that most early Muslims would have agreed with all of that. You said that there's a discontinuity with the Old Testament text with what we're saying. You're not understanding what I'm saying. The New Testament fully understands the context of the Old Testament, utilizes it, quotes from it, understands it. There's nothing like that in the Quran whatsoever. There is no evidence that the author of the Quran has a meaningful understanding of the content of what is found in the New Testament and its revelation of who Jesus Christ was and its teaching about him. None. Therefore, to say that it actually refutes what Christians believe simply doesn't make any sense whatsoever. When we look at the rebuttal period, you were asked, well, you know, you said the Quran is meant for farmers. But then you turn around and said, well, it does refute all forms of Trinitarianism because it says do not say three. Every single time it says three, the next line in Arabic is there is only one God, Allah. So what's it saying? It's making the allegation of polytheism. Now, why should I believe, because you did, I think you slipped at one point, Jake. I honestly think you did, because you quoted from someone you called a friend of yours that said, well, maybe Muhammad just knew about the monarchical Christians in his area. And I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. Are you telling me that Muhammad's understanding of Christianity determines the text of the Quran? I need to know if you believe that, because most Muslims believe the Quran was written on an eternal tablet. There is not a fingerprint of man on it, and Muhammad's understanding is irrelevant. Now, I would agree. I would agree that it's very, very important to talk about, for example, what happened when Muhammad met with the Christians from Najran and the result being part of Surah 3. I agree that Muhammad grew in his understanding. But what that means is that also explains why the Quran misrepresents the doctrine of the Trinity, because Muhammad did not understand it either. But then that fundamentally denies what you believe about what the Quran actually is.
Perfectly in line with his understanding of the Trinity and perhaps many of the Trinitarians that the Prophet Muhammad alayhi salam would have come in contact with. So maybe Dr. White is not familiar with that point, but I think that he needs to consider it seriously.